it has been really interesting to see this come up with a lot of people. It's realising that there are patterns and there are things that keep coming up and highlighted in their lives, and no matter how much work they do, they're getting thrown back into that position of having to stop and pause and reevaluate again. So yeah, it's really interesting to find out where these inner voices come from. Recently I've been particularly interested in imprints and where our inner voices come from, and I guess I'm meaning what things are we carrying from our childhood experiences and our past. Identifying the imprints, identifying where our identities are coming from as well. Are we clinging on to a previous identity that's no longer serving us, and why are we clinging on to it? Because sometimes subconsciously we don't even realise that we've moved past that identity, but our subconscious is still going down the same hardwired thought pattern lines. So having the awareness just to pause and reflect and ask yourself, does this serve the life that I'm trying to live now? Does this sit on the energy lines that I'm trying to achieve? Does this align with the values and the things I'm trying to build in my life? So yeah, I am not going to lie, I'm absolutely buggered at the moment. I'm really fatigued and I've been losing out on a lot of sleep. Variety of reasons that I've had to explore. You know, having gone down the pharmaceutical route and learned about side effects, but you know, a lesson learned and all that. Sometimes you have to try these things, and I felt like I had to quieten the ego, and you can't solve everything yourself. So I've given a new medication a try for endometriosis, and unfortunately, as though by magic, you know, a lot of symptoms did seem to get better, but it landed me with some new ones, particularly, you know, loss of serotonin, reduction of serotonin, which helps you sleep, and night sweats. But I also identified in that time some things affecting my energetic field. So I think it's fair to say that when you start identifying synchronicities and a lot of people feeling similar energy and encountering similar challenges or similar self-development goals, things that are presented to us or patterns that we've identified, I think it's safe to say that I think the essence of everything is really just learning how to undo a lot of things, and it's unlearning things that we have relied upon subconsciously time and time again for decades. So it's really looking at generational cycles, generational habits, generational thought patterns, and telling yourself that it's time to step up and be the one that breaks those family or generational cycles. So for example, me feeling the way I'm feeling and not at my best looking either, I've got to say. I'm wearing yesterday's mascara. I haven't brushed my hair today, but you know, it's funny how you can really grasp onto that guilty voice that's almost beating you up or telling you that, you know, this really isn't good enough, you need to get yourself together, you need to motivate yourself, this is lazy, or this is, you know, you're not putting enough self-belief or motivation behind it. The various things can come into play, and yeah, it's funny how you can start identifying things. So for some people that could be the case. Maybe they do need to activate themselves more. Maybe they've got into that really overly grounded state where they're lacking in confidence, self-belief. They're wanting their lives to get better, but they're not doing anything actively about it. They're just talking it better rather than actioning it better. But there's many that's probably going to identify with what I've got to say in terms of really noticing that even though you have been presented with a whole range of challenges, more so probably than many that you support or many you actively give advice to. Notice that you're probably advising these people to go easy on themselves, or to like take things step by step and to focus on what they have achieved and what they have done and what they are doing. And amongst all these challenges, when it comes to yourself, you might find that you're up against an inner voice. So I found an inner critic in me that no matter how much I've done, and really if I were to write it down, it would take up a lot of paper, but somehow in our heads we are just feeling that, oh, today, you know, you've not been that great today, you've not really done enough, and oh, it's been lost, it's a lost cause kind of thing. And yeah, it's good to pause and reflect and find out where that came from. Where was the critic in your youth? Where was the critic in your childhood, your life experience, in your family, in your close friends, in your relationships? And just ask yourself, are you actually still clinging on to this need to get everything done, everything perfected, and constantly be proving yourself in order to feel valid? But that validation was probably being sought from other people at the time, but now you're programmed just to be like that for forevermore, unless you step up and ask yourself, whose emotions and whose voices am I carrying, and reason with them and learn how to let them go. So yeah, here I am, yesterday's makeup on, not brushed my hair, out with the dogs. Luna's in heat, she's been a pain in the arse. But you know what? I've managed to do quite a few things on my computer today that are good for my future. And see all of the other things, that massive list in my head that could easily get me down that I've not achieved. I've got words to say about that, but I'm going to keep them offline. But Billy Connolly likes to use it a lot. So yeah, I'm going to tell them to bugger off.